The one thing about nomad life that I'm really full enjoying at the minute is that when you keep the energy moving, keep the energy flowing, like you do get activations, especially if you then find yourself with like soul family or people that resonate you on an energetic level at the times we're in at the minute, is things that need to be shared or that have been in your mind and have not been processed, i.e. have not been spoken out loud, get activated because of soul nourishment, like the connection, conversations, the food prepared and shared together. And I think one of the points that has been coming up in sort of reflecting on the healing journey and how when we either pull ourselves out of the matrix or we get made redundant or job situation changes, things change, that then or we start to move in different circles or ways or open up portals 111 on the clock, and we question things differently to how we've ever done it before. We start to evaluate life and we start to talk about things like purpose and meaning and spirituality and awakening or remembrance and dreams, not giving up on our dreams however much we get knocked back. You know, we build our emotional resilience, we build our emotional regulation, like we become less and less reactive to other people's shit, and we just maintain the vibration that we know will take us to will transport us, will elevate us to the dream timeline, the timeline most aligned with what we've seen and felt, and or you know, some might call it the manifestations or prophecy or whatever, however, they're just words, but things that we've seen that we know we want to work towards, that we've built change, that we've built towards because of big changes in our lives. 222 on the clock is that finding our purpose and honing in on our dreams, and maybe not sharing everything because we keep things private and sacred. It's really important to not get certain energies and people involved in our own visions. And this will look different across different either personal or group collaborative projects, but I'm just talking about me, I and I at the minute, is that it can trigger people that have known a different version of you. And obviously we know at this point that that's a reflection of where they're at in their journey, and because we are pushing ourselves to be better and do better, and all our lives look different to how we've ever lived it or to how anybody else is doing it, this whole living alternatively, which, you know, I'm learning about now. You know, there's a bit different versions of it: the tiny home movement, the cob house movement, the overlander movement, the van life. You know, just the alternative living, nomad life, is something that has put new wind in my sails and given me. And it's interesting because people that knew me in my work days and saw a different version of me, I think, met up, kind of keep bumping into each other. It's been really nice in a neighbourly way in one of the areas that I hop back to when I'm in London. And she's like, you look enlivened by it, because I mean it's not the easiest of choices at the minute. It's kind of whether people call it a sacrifice or not. I don't really ever like using the word sacrifice because certain things that I've moved through, and I know what goes on when that word's associated, but it's all choices that we're deciding to make because we've got to carve out this new, have desire to carve out a new path, a new life. And she said, you look enlivened by it, and I was like, wow, that's a really nice way of someone receiving my energy at the moment, or over the past couple of months since I've been more healed and consciously flowing into a nomadic way and creating life in ways that are available to me in the here now moment, wherever I find myself. And then also on the flip side of that is, I was talking before about, you know, how that energy is received by those who don't dream anymore, that use blanket statements of like when we're talking about change in the world. And also I believe we're at a time, many of us do, that we've never been here before, not in my lifetime or my parents' generation lifetime. So, you know, blanket statements like, oh, well, it's always been like that and history repeats itself, and all these, like, you know, people using the word always and never, and blanket statements of like not allowing for change or hope. It's a slightly defeatist attitude of, well, you know, it's always been like that, or, well, you know, this is England, or, you know, when people just talk about the weather all the time, and I'm like, if you don't like the weather, then why are you here? Like, why can't you just move? You know, or political things that might be going on, and oh, well, it's always been like that, or I don't vote. And it's something that actually was taught, we were talking about it at communication and resilience building in a workspace before I got made redundant in 2019, and all these language and words of you know, I feel when we're trying to sort of in conflict resolution and disagreements and things, we try to use different words, and using things like always, you always do this, and things never change. I think we've given up on ourselves. We've given up on the idea of infinite possibilities. Like, if we believe that we are multidimensional beings, that there's you know, potential with the multiverse and multiple realities and multiple timelines going on at any one point, saying things like always and never are quite detrimental. One, to the person saying it, because you know, spells, words are just spelling, and you continually pull yourself into this fear. I feel it is a fearful mindset of, you know, sort of giving up defeatist attitudes of, well, it's always been like this, and, you know, we don't work towards change at any point in our life, at 2 years old, at 7 years old, at 17, 27, at 45, at 77. I feel because I've tapped into my purpose and activated certain things with the help of other people, and also with the hindrance of other people, because I've had to leapfrog over a few twats, is we maintain the vision, we maintain the dreams, we connect with sacral, like imagination and dream and possibility, infinite possibility, infinitum, like energy is neither created or destroyed, it just is. So, you know, as we grow and expand, there's also that, I don't know who I was talking to about the other day. Oh yeah, neighbour friend, but also everything getting very, 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 very small infinitely, you know, the expansion, but although the contraction of things. And I guess this is just to say, like, regardless of what other people's energies or reactions to us right now, because many of us are really carving and looking at and reevaluating, like, it's a life review for many of us right now. For me, it's been a continual thing over the past 4.5 years. But things shift and shape. You know, we can't plan with a set plan, because we're a human race, and we come across humans and things and global circumstances at the minute that shift the trajectory of certain things. But that doesn't matter, because if we are in alignment with our God self, Christ consciousness, however people relate to divinity, like source energy, we can hop back on the time, like you can timeline hop. Nothing that is meant for us will ever pass us by. However, we might be feeling the pain and suffering as humans once we start to emotionally regulate and we get ourselves out of any form of like blame mentality and victim, and, you know, and I've got this ailment and this hinders me, like, because it's all brainwashing. The more we keep telling ourselves that we have this and I can't do this, and all right, I do not want to claim that for myself. I don't want to use those words. Things might slip out, you know, I'm a 39-year-old woman. I've still got loads of deprogramming around my brain and my language, but I have been doing it consciously for maybe 2 or 3 of the sort of 4.5 years of this deep soul remembrance, this resurrection of the ancient scribe that lives within me, that gets activated when I also connect with certain plant medicines. And some people might just call it chang shit, which, you know, but the words are there. So as part of my journey, my healing, and these are my little shares, some might find them of value, people might just want to laugh and have a nosy, have a gander. That's cool. Like, I share for in the name of the healing of the nations. Like, I want people to succeed. That was just 111 on the clock. I am here for the people. Again, it doesn't mean I can hang around people all the time, or that I'm going to be friends with everybody, but I'm here for the people. Not a top-down hierarchical structure in society, anything like that. I'm not for anarchy either. No extremists. I just want the people to remember their power. And so when people come along with these reactions to how I'm finding my power, I'm just like, move out the way. Stop telling me I can't do this, or because no one's ever done what I've done, because they're not me. And I've said this on an old video, and it's maybe this is like a repeated cycle that I'm sort of coming back to, but moving into the healing of it stronger, is that we've all going to do things very, very differently, and our lives are going to look very, very different at the minute. But we can't get blurred or bothered by the reaction of other people at the minute, especially if we know they can't self-regulate. Like, if we reach a certain age where we're still emotionally reactive and very defensive to any form of question from other, like, people I've found, and I'm quite a naturally curious, inquisitive mind, I ask people questions. It can actually put people out sometimes when you ask questions, and I don't mean what are you planning, what are you manifesting, probing questions. I'm just talking about life. But when we find our personal power, when we find our confidence, and we maintain a humble demeanour, I trust, that is what the aim and intention is to keep ourselves to ourselves. And when we can support, we support. But we can't let the I was going to say qua in Italian, like the gossipy. We can't let the minds of others, the speakings, the gossipy, the defeatist attitudes of other people affect us anymore. Especially people telling us who we are. You shouldn't do this, don't do that. You're not the boss of me. Like, nobody else can tell me how to express myself, whether that's text, written or oral. And I can't tell anybody else how to do that. The only things I talk about here are about suggestions of things that I've put into practice, like the spelling and the words, that I think is advisable. I believe it's a positive suggestion that we look at the words we use. And if we continue to say, I have this and I have that and I can't do that, then we won't be on the same trajectory. You will witness change in a very different way, because change, can't avoid it. This is slap bang times, you know. This is a crash bang wallop moment right now that we're seeing it play out on in many different spheres, sectors of our lives collectively. But keep the dreams alive. Let the possibilities be endless. And not talk about never and always. You know, we maintain the faith. We keep on our path. We keep the vision. And where we flow, where we make a buck, where we can have a laugh with the soul fam, we see the soul fam. Where we need a moment or two by ourselves, we need a moment or two by ourselves. But just tell people to thank you very much for your kind words. Or, well, usually they're unkind. You can't tell me what to do. I know where I'm going. And that's why in the end we end up talking less and less to other people about our stuff, because it just evokes very strange reactions. Because some people don't want to look at themselves, they don't want to look at the work. And I've accepted this mission, and as part of, it's a strand of the mission, is it's not about high horse and I'm doing this, but it is the work, whatever that means to people. But I'm around and continually finding more and more people doing the work consciously in very different ways. Like a sister of mine recently did a bit of a sacred, like ancestral inner child stuff. I kind of did mine a little bit of a different time. Like, it comes back always, you know, it cycles round, but it's really beautiful to see some of my soul fam like moving through sections that we can now talk about together, because we all have our an insight into that, even though it will look very, very different for us on an individual level. So anyway, I'm here for the collective healing and my personal mission, and for the intertwined missions that are unraveling as well. And I just want to say, yeah, just forget the words of other people. You know, we hold love in our heart and send them love and wish and respect and all of that, but we do not give in to a defeatist attitude and things have always been like, no. Massive change is coming, many amazing things are coming. Keep the visions alive. If we don't want to live somewhere, if we don't want to work in that job, if we don't want to hang around, we start making the changes day by day. What can we do to start creating our reality? Ciao.